going on. But yeah, I personally don't know too much about him, but you know, one, I know he's committed to promoting Greece, which you can't really argue with. And yeah, by the sounds of it, a very good streamer. I imagine a Greek streamer, if that's the case.
Yeah, #1 streamer in Hearthstone. Big fan of control decks. Makes a lot of pranks in his channel.
I can see it. Yeah, I can see it right now.
Not finding that difficult to believe at all. He's married and has a young daughter.
Nice.
And he used to sell watermelons for a living.
What a job. That is a job that is close, if not better, than what explaining our job to someone, right? It's like the flummoxed expression that many people, so what do you do? And you're like, oh, how to phrase this? You either go with, I'm a broadcaster, or you go, I'm a gaming commentator. And if you go with option 2, they're always confused. And now imagine saying I sell watermelons. People are like, wait, what? They'd be very, very, very confused, fam.
It's a nice fruit. It's like you wouldn't be confused if someone said they're an apple salesman. Maybe
I would.
Maybe you would, yeah.
How many people do you know that just sell one thing? Seriously?
Well, he also, okay, Deathlord also went on to tell me that is just a meme in Greece. So that is...
So you've lied to me twice already, Falcon?
No, like, I think it's genuine, but
Okay.
it's also, I don't know, Raven.
I just can't trust you anymore, but...
Look, I'm not Derek, I don't know memes, okay? What do you want from me?
They're pronounced memes?
Oh. Oh, okay.
Northside Cleric is available on 1, but probably not needed right now as Shaman has ways to deal with it. And you probably do want to guarantee that card draw. Both these decks are kind of going to race to their win condition. And
Racer!
it's just natural, that fam.
Yeah, okay.
And try and just get there as quick as possible in terms of just closing out the game, because I think the onus is going to be on Team Greece to get there first, because Team Brazil have a much more inevitability in terms of their win condition.
Yep, they're going to get there one way or another, assuming they play their cards right.
Good job, Pug. They're going to potentially win if they play cards in this card game.
Let me elaborate.
Maybe.
In order to guarantee the Shadowwalk goes off, they're going to want to play Zolas with Grumbles, combinations like that, or at least get multiple sounders. Well, exactly. See, what I said wasn't actually wrong. It was just incredibly vague.
Kind of a weird, like, why not play in terms of this Glacial Shard? This does just get the battle cry in the tank, but...
This is why not, isn't it? Norsha Cleric.
Right, exactly, yeah. So this is just because they had 1 mana spare, they wanted to do this. They're probably going to coin into 3-drop since they have 3 options. And the biggest thing here is they do have Earthshock for a worst case scenario, so they do have an answer to Northside Cleric. They haven't just blindly done this.
There's Mr. Wok, as Lorinda likes to call him. I think it's because the word Shudder has too many R's in it.
It's probably reasonable.
Yeah.
1 being too many.
Well, yeah, obviously.
I wonder.
So, Brazil have the option now. Do they go for the Earthshock onto the Cleric and that will reduce the card draw potential? Or do they go for their own card draw with the coin and have the Acolyte or the Manatide? I imagine Acolyte, because it's the one that interacts the best with Cleric. So yeah, they have gone with the Acolyte and just said, you know what, you could draw a card, we'll draw 3.
Well, yeah, and that's the big issue here, isn't it? If Spiner now takes his turn trading into the Glacial Shard and healing up, then yeah, Raze also gets to draw one of his own cards, whilst also then playing his Earthshock or whatever he's drawn at that point to make the situation even better for him and even worse for Greece. So the problem is, Greece don't really have anything better to do this turn. Trade and drop the Gluttonous's, sacrificing all of the card draw. It's not pretty.
Yeah, it really isn't.
The Acolyte was a great gambit though.
I think they have to go for the heal though, right? You kind of commit to this. You need to take the Glacial Shard off the board, get the heal down, draw 1 deeper, and yeah, they can only really draw 1 card next turn, so you're always at least keeping up with them is the important part here. If you play the Ooze and then they just kill the Cleric next turn and draw a card, you've gained a 3-3, but they've drawn 2 cards minimum.
I want to point out that, Greece have now drawn their second Mind Blast, putting a pretty hard cap on the amount of damage that they can deal in 1 turn with these cards in combination with the hero. They do run a Holy Fire, so double Mind Blast Holy Fire is possible at some point, and that is often enough. But it's a big limitation for later on.
It is. They can then have to probably, as a backup plan, try and get a Holy Fire, get Anduin online, and then Hero Power, Holy Fire, Hero Power, Hero Power, Holy Fire, Hero Power, Hero Power, Mind Blast, Hero Power, Mind Blast, Hero Power.
That was very descriptive.
I'm not turning it into a song.
But yeah, correct. You could turn that into a song,
I think I could, yeah.
It would be a great meme.
Good job you're learning. I just need a very generic dubstep backing track. And I'll add my voice to it. It'll be great. The fast sight into the healing rain is going to be pretty impactful late game.
Yeah.
Because it means that they can just heal whenever they want. Me and Sol earlier talked about having to do something else as well as play healing rain in a lot of matchups.
Yep.
You don't want to just healing rain pass, because it's extremely likely that most of the health you've gained, you actually just take again next turn and you've not progressed your battle plan. So healing rain at 0 mana means it's just 100% choice for Brazil.
I mean, healing rain Hex is a big one for the Alexstrasza turn, isn't it? Or at the very least, healing rain plus a glacial shard. But then they want to be developing as well. They want to be getting closer to that Shadowwalk win condition. They want to be playing Saranites or Grumbles or something. So you're right, the healing rain costing 0 can make a huge difference later on, and it's not something that Greece are likely to play around when they're setting up a 2-turn lethal.
Right, and a lot of it just comes down to overload management as well, where the healing rain gets a little bit more tricky to slot in. And nice little cute play with the Acolyte there, just going onto the Cleric so he can get an easier trade on the Acolyte. So it's kind of a 2 for 2. I said Acolyte twice then, but obviously meant the Priest Acolyte buffing the Cleric onto the Brazilian Acolyte.
This is the second series in a row in which we've seen this play, actually. It happened in the last series that Subtle and I cast together, and it's just a weird use of the card, isn't it? Rather than stealing attack, lending its attack to a friend to make a valuable trade.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good overall. A lot of the time, the 4 health on the Acolyte means you can just still get some value out of it anyway. And especially back in the day with the actual combo priest being way more popular, you could do this to just say, I'll give my lesser minion more attack, right? Because this Acolyte's going to get buffed anyway if you have like Power Word, Shield, Divine Spirit, for example.
I mean, also, this is not a matchup in which Greece are going to need to rely on the Twilight Acolyte Incubar Shadow Priest play. There's only Grumble, I think, that's actually a big threatening minion worth stealing in this deck. Otherwise, it's mostly minions that have 2 attack or less anyway, so Twilight Acolyte just isn't needed for that combo.
Yeah, and this is just a game of card draw right now. There's Anduin, so that's going to be nice for Greece. They know they have it in a couple of turns' time, and they can build up to it. Now they have Alex, they have Anduin, they have Double Mind Blast. They do have Shadow Visions as well to either dig for something preemptively or use it to actually just proc hero power for additional 2 damage and dig anyway. So they do have options, but Race and Team Brazil can just start dropping theirs too. They might even go even greedier here because that 1/4 just drop an Acolyte of Pain. Depending on how this turn plays out, of course.
Without any Mind Blasts in the pool, there's not going to be the most amazing Shadow Visions that we've ever seen. However, you can definitely make the argument that Holy Fire is the best possible pickup, and that's not present here. Holy Fire being the 15th point of damage along with the Double Mind Blast the turn after Alexstrasza, and that's one way of just outright winning the game. So I should imagine Greece are considering searching further for that card.
Yeah, I don't see any huge reason to take Divine Hymn right now. Power Word Shield's okay to cycle, but Shadow Vision's also kind of cycles in terms of it just digs in your deck. Actually gets you a decent option most of the time. So Shadow Vision's being picked up, not too much of a surprise here from Spina Logman for Greece. Second Hex for Brazil.
Yeah, the issue for Brazil here is that Greece are actually getting into that position where they can start to deal a little bits of chip damage. And while Greece's health doesn't really matter until there's the Shadowwalk win condition just there, and then Shadowwalk wins in 1 or 2 turns anyway, Brazil's health really does matter because the Mind Blasts are a very real threat.
Yeah, they do have to consider them. As soon as Anduin comes down, you have to say, okay, how much damage can we take next turn? And because there's a team of 4, they will have someone hand tracking pretty heavily, and they will see that 3-4 cards are going to be in hand for most of the game right now.
Yeah.
And soon they'll see Anduin, then they'll see Alexstrasza, and then right, guess what else is in hand? Because you do not Alexstrasza for no real reason without some kind of burn plan to follow up with.
And I mean, there's always the possibility that Greece are able to reduce Brazil's health low enough where they have to play the Healing Rain before Alexstrasza. Then Alexstrasza comes down and starts to really threaten that lethal. Brazil are going to try and put a stop to that by reducing the chip damage on the board as much as possible with this Glacial Shard. Sorry, just imagining a world in which the Twilight Acolyte in the hand lends its attack to the Twilight Acolyte that's on the board to make a better trade, but there isn't actually a situation in which that's helpful here.
Yeah, funnily enough, I think actually going face with the 1/4 might be the best play here. Because you want to leave as many minions on the board for Psychic Scream next turn.
Right. That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's something I haven't thought about, but you mentioned it earlier on in that it's just a way to help in this matchup. Just essentially shuffle that Shadow Walk deeper and deeper into the deck. Or even shuffling Grumble deeper into the deck or Zola deeper into the deck can help.
Yeah, I mean, they've not seen any of the activators yet for the bounce effects for Shadow Walk, so even if there's Shadow Walk, even if there's a Chain Gang that we can see, it doesn't matter if they can't actually bounce them. It means that there's a finite amount of damage available from Team Brazil, and that's what we want to see. They are going to trade instead. Weird thing with the trade as well is there's an argument that they get, like Brazil will make that trade for you. That trade always happens. They can trade off something else. I don't know. One of the weird things to consider as well is you could say, oh, well, they could Grumble the Shard back. And although that's true, well, they can't replay it this turn, and also Shard has such a low impact on this matchup,
Yep.
that it's not really the end of the world anyway.
No, I mean, Shard's already done its job, right? It's reduced some chip damage in the meantime, and as you said, from this point onwards, it doesn't really do anything. Glacial Shard doesn't freeze Mind Blasts, right?
Right, if this was versus, for example, Death Rattle Hunter, Shard's amazing.
Yeah.
Because you just stop the big attacking minions hitting you, which is absolutely fantastic. Same with Even Lock, for example. But in this matchup, it's way lower impact. And now what will be important is Spinal Ogre Man will want to get rid of these chain gangs. You don't want to leave the Saranites on the board if you even consider that Grumble is a card, because that is how you lose this game.
There's that one life drinker, Raven.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty good.
Vital pickup, actually, because Brazil are never actually winning the game before they draw it. Now, that Psychic Scream is just that little bit worse as one more combo piece has been drawn. However, Grumble is still important, so it is doing its job.
Yeah, Life Drinker can come down now. Also, it's of small note, but Life Drinker healing the 1, you could say, well, good, because that means the priest hasn't done any damage to them, but also it means that Life Drink is not going to come down later and heal for 3 to maybe get them out of those ranges of double Mind Blast. So it literally has to be Healing Rain or Shudder Walk at that point. Can't see a reason not to Life Drinker. Get it alive, play the use.
Just get as much onto the board as possible to contest whatever Greece want to play next. And the answer to what do Greece want to play next, I guess, is just Shadow Reaper Anduin.
This becomes very straightforward now, right? Like, I think Greece have to Anduin, then they have to Alex Raza,
and
then they have to try and kill them. They won't kill them, then they have to do the plan to get there. And the more cards you play before Anduin right now, you are literally removing damage from your deck for no reason. If you Cleric, Powered Shield, right, well, that's 4 damage you've lost.
So, let's work this out, shall we? Anduin comes down this turn. The following turn, Alex Straza reduces Brazil's health to 15. Then Brazil play Healing Rain, putting themselves back up to 27. Then Double Mind Blast with Hero Powers is 16. So Brazil goes back down to 11 again. Ping, Holy Fire, Ping is only... That's 9. That took way too long. Which isn't the 11. So actually, Raze is still safe for a significant amount of time. And because that Healing Rain costs 0, Raze is going to be able to make some good turns alongside, good plays alongside the healing, and be able to get rid of that Alex Straza with no problem.
There might even be a thought here to normally want to save Zola for a turn you can Grumble it as well, but because there's only one Life Drinker and it's a matchup where healing is extremely important, we might see it on the Life Drinker just for the replay.
Well, there's also nothing else to do this turn really, and being able to consider dropping the Life Drinker now just for a bigger, more threatening board. It's very important to get that healing after Alex Straza, though, so this is a difficult decision.
Also, on top of that, you have to work out, do you want more minions on the board? Because are you planning on playing Hagatha? It's +5 armor. It's something that could be a response and gain more health. If you play Hagatha, you kill your own Life Drinker, and also it's 1 less Life Drinker, 1 less minion to get you an additional spell later on that might be make or break.
Also, Dustbreaker.
Right.
If the Life Drinker was played this turn, it's just being dealt with immediately. However, it's going to be the Alexstrasza almost always here. It's very difficult to justify any other play. The only counter-argument is there is 8 damage on the board. Greece like having more health.
I think you might actually go for Dustbreaker this turn. Because what you can do is like half threaten the damage. If you put them to around 20, they know that they've seen Shadow Visions, but not the card from Shadow Visions yet.
Right.
So if you Dustbreaker now, well, Hero Power, Dustbreaker Hero Power, you put them to 26, you have a 3/3 on the board. So I could put them to 23. Maybe you even...
It's not enough, is it?
The shadows grow
Because 3
short.
Mind Blast is still only 19 with the pings.
Yeah.
Darkness.
But then suddenly one more turn, you, you just Hero Power them, Power, Shield, Hero Power, and then they have to heal. They have to, because they might be dead. And then when they heal, you play Alexstrasza, and then they Hex and heal, worst case, and then you go again, and then you have the Mind Blast and the Holy Fire. The more you can push damage without using your big actual damage spells, the better in this matchup right now.
I mean, I was almost expecting Greece to play one of these 2 1-mana cards, either the Cleric or the Powered Shield, just to make this Dustbreaker bulkier or just put that extra threat on the board. But ultimately, what they've decided to do is hold back these 1-mana cards and use them to keep getting Hero Powers later on. Hero Power, 1-drop, Hero Power, 1-drop, Hero Power. Again, it's pushing as much damage as possible without using these big damage cards, as you were saying, and it's vital.
Yeah, they can put Race to 20 next turn with 2 cards that cost 1 mana and still have mana, a bit of mana spare. So that's a pretty big deal. They can also just drop the Twilight Acolyte as well if they really want instead. And what that does is just put a harder to kill minion on the board, which means that there's a threat of the actual minion that stays alive attacking you and not just doing what instead.
You mentioned Hagatha earlier, and I think that's a really interesting conversation to have because you never want to plan to play Hagatha in a control matchup because it can just make this Shadow Walk impossible to play. The hand size issues are a very real issue. However, Hagatha gives you a chance to draw an extra healing rain with every single minion played, and maybe that is a good enough chance to consider playing the card.
I think most importantly as well, Hagatha's just a heal 5.
5 armor, yeah.
It's heal 5, and as you said, you can't ignore the spells, of course. But also, it's heal 5, and when your opponent has a finite amount of damage, you could just plan on playing Shadow Walk to out-heal them to a certain extent.
This is where the Healing Rain costing 0 mana can make a big difference, as he can play the Healing Rain and the Hex, and also the Life Drinker this turn, just to put his health as high as possible. Now that Alexstrasza's been played, there's no reason not to use the Life Drinker. He wants to put his health as high as he can.
Yeah, you can just go up to full. All the way up to 30 this turn. But you could also... Maybe you could just play the Ooze again.
Sure.
Life Drinker's probably fine.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's not vital to get up to 30 this turn. There's no way that Greece does that much damage that quickly, but I think there's just an element of there's no reason not to, and it frees up Brazil's mana to play later on.
Yeah, you have the mana available to do stuff, because it might get to the point where you just have to Shadow Walk and hope.
2 Holy Fires in hand now, so that's 9 per turn. Then the double Mind Blast with ping turn is 16 damage. I mean, 18 plus 16 is more than 30.
It's true.
So
And you have just seen Life Drinker number 2, and that's all of them.
Yeah, so that is a 3-turn lethal setup potentially. Though Shadow Walk obviously is capable of healing Brazil. As one Zola has been played, it is possible for Life Drinker, for Shadow Walk to duplicate itself, not in the game-breaking Grumble way, but in the very slow, very careful Zola way.
You also have to consider Grumble this turn as well. Because
That's true.
if Grumble bounces the Life Drinker, then that's +3 healing. Not enough to make an impact on the overall plan, I think, but something you do have to think about because your +3 suddenly takes you from lethal to not lethal.
I agree, however, I think there's a strong chance that if Grumble was in the hand, Grumble would have been played already, and that's probably the read that Greece are having to take in order to make these game-winning plays. He has to just say, they have to say to themselves, well, look, Grumble's not there. If it is, this game becomes much harder. Let's just play as if it's not.
These hexes are also super annoying for Hagatha.
Right.
Because you just can't get the 3 damage through. Not that damage is a huge deal, but it's just frustrating to have the board do nothing.
Yeah. I mean, what? Pyromancer plus what, an Earth Shock may be tempting here if Raze wants to get.
I mean, why not drop the Saronite as well?
Yeah.
What to do?
I think they do need to do is actually just keep this Mantide alive because they need to draw. That's why we see the Acolyte now, I guess, as well, because there's still 12 cards in the deck. That is quite a lot. That is nearly half your deck is still there, and you need specifically one card to make this game a winnable game for you right now. That isn't it. Ooh, if there's a Psychic Scream this turn, that's a big deal. The Shadow Vision's Psychic Scream.
Well, it's possible, and getting to the point in the game where there won't be that many spells left, it's got to be quite likely.
It's kind of hard though, right? Because you have to make that decision right now.
So both Mind Blast have been drawn, both Holy Fire have been drawn. I think.
Thoughts.
No, one Powered Shield's been drawn. Yeah, it's definitely not guaranteed. There's no other consistent way of clearing this board, though.
Darkness speaks to me.
Then again, the ping Holy Fire ping turn does set up the double Mind Blast lethal next turn.
Yep, puts them to 12.
And again, double Mind Blast with 3 pings is 16.
One issue is then Shudderwock keeps them alive, and then if you can't deal with Shudderwock, then you lose.
Right.
Shadowy
That's true.
thoughts.
Flip side of that, Grubble hasn't been played yet, and with this wide board, it's very unlikely that Zola hits the Shudderwock.
Right, but you could be dead, was my point.
Sure.
Because you heal out of range of next turn, and
Yeah.
then you've also done, what, 3, 4, 11, you have 17 to the priest.
He's praying. That can only mean one thing.
The Millennium Puzzle. Getting the job done. But this is completely reasonable play by Greece, to be honest. I think at this point, with those Mind Blasts in hand so long, this is what we alluded to earlier, where you kind of just have to go for it,
Yep.
and you have enough to beat the heal, and you've not seen Grumble yet. It's as early as it's ever going to get, where they don't have Grumble, and you can win the game next turn. And we can see there's no healing, so the Hagatha is going to have to be played if they want to live.
Okay, this is getting a little bit exaggerated here. Come on, Spiner. Can you just play the card?
You're asking Spiner to play the card? What card?
Sorry, Raze. Can you play the, sorry, Spiner's the one praying. That completely threw me off there.
But like, you have to play Hagatha though, right?
Hagatha heals up to 17, so yeah, it
Because
puts him out of range.
Greece has just blatantly shown that they're like, let's finish this game, let's go.
Yeah.
There's Grumbel.
Okay.
This is so funny though. They can't play Grumble.
Right. And Greece 1-off lethal.
I think they just go off with Northshire and Shadow Visions this turn.
Yeah, there's no reason to reveal that they've got all of the burst unless they
Darkness speaks
absolutely need to use it. And as we've been saying, those 2 1-mana cards are there for a
Right.
reason. They've been held onto for a reason.
I think to a large extent it doesn't matter, except this turn you can try and get more out of your spells because there's more cards for Shadow Visions to hit and to choose from. I can't recall exactly what spells are left, of course. Okay, guess they just play the Wild Pyro. Unless they've got something for Shadow Visions. I don't think they have.
Shadows grow short.
Shudderwock is going to heal for 6, though.
I think here, though, that's why the Pyro's important.
Yeah.
I guess the Hagatha goes off anyways. No
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
But they might not Shudderwock, right? Like, there's something you have to consider. They might have something that's slightly better versus Shudderwock.
You can see who the streamer is here. We've a very serious, concentrating, slightly confused face on the top there versus, well, that face. And arms outstretched.
Yep, saw some words there from Race to his teammate, and then Spinner's just saying, right, let's go, let's see what's what right now. And it's bounced. Oh, wait. Oh, no, I thought that was Zola then for some reason.
That's the Zola.
There you go.
I was distracted. When you thought you saw the Zola, I was too busy watching watching Spiner.
Right. And this is a problem now. I think there has to be a Shadow Visions into Scream. Oh no, wait, they have Dustbreaker. What am I talking about? Dustbreaker's well better!
Yeah, it is. Problem, Race is healing for 6 again next turn.
Okay.
So Spiner's dealing 4, ping, Dustbreaker, ping. And then Raze is healing for 6 again. Spiner's 1 off lethal this turn. How does he actually get there?
The Shudderwock whiffs.
Okay.
That's what you have to do. The Shudderwock won't whiff if you don't kill the Shudderwocks on board.
So the Shudderwock has to whiff, but then Race will have a full board full of Shudderwocks and Grumble in hand. The Shudderwock has to whiff, then Grease needs to deal with the Shudderwocks, I guess, with Psychic Scream, and then Race needs to not draw the Shudderwocks again. That's the sequence
Well,
of
no,
things
if the
that
Shudderwocks whiff, there's no Shudderwock to draw.
Oh, because Hagatha's killing them. Right, okay, sure.
I'm sorry, you've lost me.
So,
if you
okay.
play the board this turn,
Yeah.
they replay Shudderwock just like they played it then.
Yeah.
There's only Zola, so Zola misses, and then there's no more Shudderwock.
But they have a full board, right?
How do they have a full board?
Well, they have 3 Shudderwocks.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, you can then deal with either clearing or trying to lethal them after once you've Psychic Screamed them off.
Right, but that's why I said then Race would draw the Shudderwock again if it's been slain.
Right, I thought you meant draw Shudderwocks as in have them in hand from the board. Right.
No,
I think he has to do this though.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Nothing else he can do. This does survive the Shudderwock from Hagatha as well, so that's +3 attack because the Dustbreaker doesn't die.
It probably gets frozen though, right?
Well, look, Falk, you of all people should understand sometimes minions don't get frozen.
Astronomically low, Raven. Astronomically low. See?
Oof.
Told you. Oh god, Spiner's not very... Whoa! Calm down, Spiner. This is what I love about Grease, though. They're so emotive.
And
Did
it
whiff.
whiffed.
It did whiff. And
Although I'm... Oh my...
well,
this is just-
Pyromancer, Shadow Visions... No, because he can't heal up the Pyromancer again.
I mean, also there's a slight issue.
Is that there's a Lava Burst in hand.
Yep.
And Spiner has no healing. So, as fun as it is to tunnel on Shudderwocks,
Darkness speaks.
that does seem more vital here. There's still Divine Hymn in the deck, I think. So while Pyromancer, Shadow Visions, Divine Hymn, Mind Blast, clears the board of Shudderwocks, and hilariously does put Grease out of... Why is that? Watermelon Salesman!
The problem is... Okay, they are going for it.
The question is, do they actually play around Lava Burst? Which they...
Well, is there a
probably
reason you wouldn't play it? If you clear these now, you know they're gone. You can win.
But now Divine Hymn is... Well, now it's not going to clear the board, though, because the Shudderwock that hasn't been pinged yet won't die. Where if they made the play that I described without playing the pings, there would have been 3 spells played. But because they've done it this way and pinged minions instead, they haven't had the mana to play the Divine Hymn. I mean, I'm saying that they should have been playing around a card which they definitely shouldn't have needed to play around, but either way, they could have done it that turn. They could have increased the health total. It didn't work out, and Race eventually took down that game with the Lava Burst. That was a stress.